This is not the end. It is not even the beginning of the end. But it is perhaps the end of the beginning.
Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So before we jump into this one, try to subscribe, try to like, try to hit that notifications bell to stay up to date as much as you can. Consider supporting the Patreon if you feel like it. It really is going to help a channel like this out realistically as we move forward. So, it's been a while, lots of different kind of theories and theses as to where I've gone this time. And honestly, I think I'm a bit confused as to, where people think all of the time comes from that's spent on this chain and everything like that. But ultimately, I'm working full time, right? And from the very beginning of this, I've never, ever done what everybody else has done, which is like create a coin, ask for money from the chain, come up with all sorts of crazy ideas as to why I should be paid money and all of these different things. I'm very humbled, and I've just been here to help push the development of this chain forward. So ultimately, it's been that long, and I've been doing this for so long now that it got to a point where everything was doing what it should be doing and things were becoming more equalized. We had gotten rid of the dead weight and we had removed all of the bullshit paychecks, to say it outright, and just removed all of the sort of nonsense that there was, and got us to be more than just a meme coin and really something that has become community owned again. And it's stemmed down to so many different things realistically that have happened. I'm not saying this is an attributing factor to what has happened, but you can certainly see a huge change in the whole sentiment for our blockchain. And it just seems that we've been leading this movement as this has broken out. And I have been watching from the sidelines, and yeah, there are people to be like, well, you could have made a tweet, but it's like at the same time, I've got a full-time job, right? I've got a life, and ultimately you can go on Google now and you can check my YouTube channel and you can check to see how much it earns. And it's about £350 a month. I have to pay tax on that to YouTube, so they get around 40% fees. I still have to pay tax on that. So you can sort of think to yourselves, right? If you were putting in as much time as I do to get, if you're lucky, like £250, how would you feel, right? How would you feel when, realistically, we introduced a module that I knew would be very detrimental to myself, but I did it anyway. I did it knowing what it would do and that we would struggle with loyalty. And for those who have remained loyal, my hat goes off to you, because in times like this, it really counts for people like me, because I run my node at a complete loss. People like HappyCattyCrypto have left for space at like a $22,000 loss. I'm not far off of that kind of loss myself. I run for a really, really horrible time. I've seen many validators spin up, and many of these validators have actually spurred them myself and said, you should create a validator, start validating, start doing something. The credit never comes back. And it's a very peculiar situation for myself at the moment, where I've given all of my loyalty, all of my love, to the point of where my channel just doesn't grow. I've been stuck at 15k subs since I got to 15k subs, because I don't do anything other than Lunar Classic. I've literally committed all of my time, everything that I've got, to this one chain, and it gets everything, right? Even at the detriment of my own well-being, my own income. And I'm in a position, right, where I just don't earn anything. I don't sponsor the channel out, I don't sell out, and I don't do any of these crazy things. And ultimately, I've burned $6,000 of my own YouTube revenue. That's clocked. You can go look at that on the burn ticker. I had a Let It Burn channel. I've got Project LUNC Burn. We've got LUNC Dash. Well, we had LUNC Dash. We've got the auto compound. We've done so much for this blockchain. And ultimately, we've never asked for a penny. We've never asked for anything. And this whole loyalty thing's been quite huge for me, as I've been away for nearly 2 weeks working and stuff, and really thinking to myself, I've given all of this loyalty to a chain that doesn't realistically return it, if that makes sense. And it's not that I'm asking for it, but it would just kind of be nice that if I am giving all of this time and energy and everything to this chain, it would be nice, if that makes sense. And I guess any of you would probably feel the same. I guess some people are going to be like, oh no, you shouldn't get anything. But and I totally get it if you feel like that. But that's the bone bears of the situation right now. And I'm sorry for the kind of long-winded explanation as to what's what and who's who and what's up and what's down. But honestly, right? Think about your lives. You work full times, you've got your family, you've got your hobbies, you've got your spare time, right? People like me, I don't have spare time, don't have hobbies, don't have time for all of these different things. It's just work, do more work, eat, sleep, repeat, work, do more work. And it's that same thing over again. And like I said, I've been here time and time again, and I've spurred people on. I've put United Visions together to get people to, at least if they can't come up with something themselves or they're scared to push something, at least there's something there they can go off. And like I said, it's really made a difference in this time. So without further ado, let's dive into this video. But before we do, I wanted to really look at this article that I saw on the 1st of December, which is a steep rally loading up for DeFi. And this is actually pretty accurate because there's a lot of weird things going on. And as I start to recover the coin and start covering other coins and stuff like that, I'm going to really break down as to why LUNC is setting itself aside as a cryptocurrency that realistically just, it could become the next ship. And I'm going to be breaking this down in videos moving forward and stuff like this. So this huge rally that could be loading up, it's possible. BTC halving is around 130 days away. It's all possible. This is the time when everybody gets excited. We've got the fear and greed index sitting at 75. This is great. This is what we want. But everybody needs to always be careful, right? And understand that it's okay to take profits. It's important to take profits. It's wise and intelligent to take profits. Don't be greedy. Things that go up must come down eventually. And that's just it's just the way the cookie crumbles at the end of the day. Now, moving forward, what I want to look at here is the overall movement of this whole thing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to the day chart here, and I'm just going to paint out, because you might have heard the quote at the beginning of the video, and this is actually referencing my tweet I put out, which was simply explaining that this really is the end of the beginning, and we're past this stage, and it looks like there's better days on the horizon. And you can really time this out with my tweet as to what was going on and as to why I thought to myself, this is a good time for me to step back. I can earn some real money in real life to support myself moving forward, so I can do more here, right? And I saw this was coming. I saw the cup and handle playing out. I could see the good news, and I could see some other things happening. And I kind of was planning for this, right? And I don't hold huge amounts of LUNC. Anything that I've ever held has gone into projects. It's been burnt. I've done different things with it. I've bought people's NFTs. It's the same as most people. I've supported this blockchain. My NFT project is built into this blockchain. And whilst everybody else's NFT projects are currently under fire because they've done all of these different things that their holders don't like, my holders are very happy. And their rewards have gone up by like 480%. Their penguin values have gone up by 480%. Their treasury has gone up by 480%. And they're very happy people. They're getting 480% more value out of what they've invested in. They invested in this as a very, very low point. Actually, around this area is when we actually sold the final remaining mints. And we've only ever sold 3,830 of them. And I can tell you something for certain, that is only going to be a supply that reduces. And it's interesting to say the least. So with all of this being said, right, this was kind of what I was getting out of my tweet, is that a new dawn for this whole blockchain ecosystem and the cosmos in general is moving forward, and it's a very interesting time to be part of this ecosystem. So going back to this, like I was saying, if you're taking this from the all-time low to the all-time high, it's between 460 and 500%, depending on where you go from on the chart and different things like that. But it's around that area. This is monumental. I'm going to be breaking down in a few different videos across the next few days as to what I possibly think has driven this, what's got it to where it's going to be, and where we could be possibly heading in the future. And it's going to be really important we pay attention to things like USTC, something that moved 652% during this phase. This is insane, right? Because ultimately there's power in moving together instead of just being these really sort of nervous kids in the playground, don't want to talk to each other, don't want to play with another one. I don't like their hair, I don't like their trainers, they smell funny. It's going to be this situation where we're actually stronger together if we band together and do what the cosmos teaches us all to do, which is just to accept one another. Just to accept one another and move forward together. It's so important that we try to harness everything that we can right now in this point in time, because what's happened here, and I'm going to try and break this down as simply as I can for people, is throughout this point of all of this price movement, okay, there's been stages likely here, and even up here, possibly up here as well. You've got all of these areas where you've gained new holders. Once you've gained a holder, right, what's the first thing the holder does? Well, they search for the different things that they can do with their coins. And this is all about user retention, retaining users as we've onboarded them. And it's all about giving them more than just a hammer to hammer a nail with it. It's all about giving them a ruler and a tri-square and all of these different amazing tools that they can just go and do very simple, but also very complex stuff. And this all comes down to a very active and very dedicated validator base. And this is something that's going to be more and more apparent moving forward, that if you don't support validators and you don't keep the right people more or less at least in a stage, right, where they can keep developing stuff, they can keep moving forward, and they don't need to come away from the blockchain, because these are the kind of people that we need. And it's so important that everybody understands that being a validator, you need to be bringing stuff to the table like auto compound modules, metric sites, all of these different things. And it's just, for me, we create a metric site. What happens? 500 metric sites spin up. We create a module. Oh, everybody else wants to use the module, and it's we're not actually getting anybody doing anything new. Everybody's just sort of looking always to the sort of reliability of paying a team, there being an L1 budget, and this is somehow going to lead us to glory. It doesn't matter what the L1 developer, it doesn't matter what anybody develops, it doesn't matter what they create. It's all down to the people that are going to go out as validators, and they're going to ship that out. They're going to know how to use it. They're going to build things from it, and they're going to do all of these sort of different things. For example, my Penguins NFT project, you couldn't mint an NFT. You had to hatch an NFT. You had to go and mate 2 native NFTs that had been released already to get an egg to then hatch an NFT. And it's all about using these very intricate systems. And I want to see different things like that. I don't want to see some of these sort of like systems where it's just like, oh, here's a dragon, feed it. It's all not very original at this point, if that makes sense. But LUNC is going to be going for a very important phase where we need to work on user retention. We need to have things for them to do. And even if that comes down to a very simple metaverse, then that's what it comes down to. And what I believe is, out of the 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 or however many different games there are now, whichever one manages to get a decent one up and running first is really going to put themselves ahead of the curve, I believe, for LUNC, because we've got, for what people think, and this whole idea of, the supply is very substantial and we're never going to burn through it. I'm going to be covering this in a video and breaking it down and showing people just how little the supply actually is. And to be quite honest, we're quite fortunate because it brings many opportunities, right? Everybody wants it to just go all the way up in one day. But if it did that, it would just go all the way back down. It's all about catching these areas, right? Making plays, going for the long position, going for the short position, and doing all of those different things to just try and make as much money as you can during these times. But trade safe, folks. It's so important that you trade safe. Don't get greedy. Like I said, take profits. It's okay to take profits. But yeah, it's been absolutely insane looking at all of the different fan theories, the theses, and all of these different things as to where I am, what I'm doing. You can always ask my mod team in the Telegram group as to where am I, what am I doing? And they've been telling people I'm working in real life. I'm not one of these people that have rugged the chain for $3 million and relaunched my coin or launched a coin or anything like that. Even my NFT projects. If you don't believe me, go and speak to them. Ask them about the project. We don't get anything. We don't get any creator fees. We get nothing. It all goes to the project. They are really doing well in this time because even their own treasury, all of the clan treasuries are up 480%. And it's so nice to see that during these times that people are prospering. And it's the same for all of you people. And I hope that you've all seen what can happen realistically when the sentiment starts to change and things start to look better and there's more hope on the horizon. There's real unity in front of everybody and everybody can see that. I think what everybody wants to see is a team form from all of the kind of different people that you probably could never ever get on a team. It would be a thing of magnificence, wouldn't it? It's a very interesting thing. So we are going to be covering a few things. We're going to be covering XRP. We're going to be covering Loom. We're going to be covering Flare. We're going to be covering USTC, Luna, different things like that. If you don't like it, hit unsubscribe. If you do like it, hit subscribe. You know, at this point, folks, I'm a human. And honestly, just the same as all of you folks, I want to be able to live like everybody else wants to live, right? That's involved in crypto. And I don't want to get left behind, if that makes sense. And this whole idea of me pushing everything aside all the time and simply going, no, I'm not going to do sponsor. I'm not going to do all of these things. And instead, I'm going to have to start to think to myself, well, if people want me to be around and people want me to do all of these things, you know, it's something's got to give. There's got to be support, or I've got to do sponsor. I've got to do something, or you know, I don't know. Let me know what you think in the comment section about all of this stuff, because I'm super confused about it. It's a very, very weird situation for someone like me that is heavily stigmatized for simply breathing on this blockchain at this point. But other than that, folks, stay safe, stay humble, stay aware. More content coming. We'll try get it back on track. We'll try get more things coming out, and we'll try keep you as up to date as we can, honestly. And as to this pump and all of the different things going on, I've got a list and I'm going to be working through it. Have a good day. Sorry for the long video, and I'll catch you in the next one.